fans are interesting. And I mean that in the literal sense. It's not code for bitter, crazy, or obsessive. I mean, actually interesting. When the first Spider-Man movie came out, people went crazy. This is it! This is Spider-Man on the big screen! They totally got it right! And then, when the second reboot came out, everyone said, oh yeah, that old Spider-Man crap, that's history! This is the one that gets it right! This is the one that finally nailed it! And now we're on the third reboot, Spider-Man Homecoming. And, yep, this is the one that gets it right! The others were crap, this is the one that totally nails it. Awesome, so we finally get Spider-Man as an actual man? Oh, no, he's still a boy again. Okay, the others did that. I guess it'll be nice to see him hook up with Mary Jane again. Oh, she's not even revealed as Mary Jane until the end. But at least she's that confident Spitfire or really cynical hates everything girl now. Well, his relationship with aging Aunt May must... Whoa, that's different. Well, it'll be fun seeing him work as a photographer for the Daily Bugle. That's not in this either. Well, at least he still has issues battling bullies who are kind of bigger geeks than him. Well, you know what? As long as they get the core, the whole reason for him being Spider-Man, the death of his Uncle Ben, not even mentioned. I'm not even sure if Uncle Ben exists in this universe. Wow, that's kind of like taking away Batman's parents. It's honestly the reason he is who he is. But this is the Spider-Man we've all been waiting for? I mean, just look at that poster. Isn't that exactly how we want to see the best version of Spider-Man? Okay, before you bring down that anvil of hate on me, keep in mind, I think this is a good movie. I think you could argue one of the more entertaining, if not the most entertaining of the Spider-Man films. Tom Holland plays Peter Parker this time, and the whole movie is based around him trying to be the amazing Spider-Man, while also trying to have a normal social life and live up to his hero, Iron Man, played again by Robert Downey Jr. But of course there's trouble on the horizon as an evil villain called the Vulture, played by another Birdman, Michael Keaton, is trying to get revenge for his job and life being ruined. Add a lot of comedy, twists and turns, and some really fun performances, and you get a very funny, very enjoyable Marvel movie. Yeah, that's kind of the big difference between this Spider-Man movie and the others. The others were Spider-Man films that just happened to be Marvel. This is a Marvel film that just happens to be Spider-Man. Spider-Man, don't get me wrong, is supposed to be funny and at times lighthearted, but it's also supposed to be big. There's a reason he's one of the most famous superheroes there is. It isn't just the powers, it's the story, it's the character, it's the conflict. And that's dabbled with here, but there's nothing really that grand or epic about it. The other Spider-Mans, for all their problems, were big movies. This, I think, is kind of on the level of Ant-Man. I love Ant-Man. But Ant-Man isn't Spider-Man. Spider-Man is Spider-Man. And when I think Spider-Man, I think of him walking home after letting his uncle down, his head hanging low, thinking about with great power comes great responsibility. What I got out of this was, I really want to make Tony Stark happy. Nailed it? Now, with all that said, I know exactly why they made these choices, and honestly, they are the perfect choices to make. This is the third Spider-Man reboot in a very short amount of time. People are sick of seeing him get bitten by the spider. People are sick of seeing Uncle Ben get shot. They're sick of all these repeated story elements that we've seen a million times. Marvel very wisely takes a completely different angle. It does make it more light. It does make it more fun. It does make it more goofy. You know, not Sam Raimi goofy, but Marvel goofy, the goofy that we all have grown to love. From a business standpoint and an entertainment standpoint, this makes total sense to do. You can't do another big Spider-Man, not right now anyway. You need something smaller, you need something cuter, you need something lighter. They had to deal with the limitations of the audience's knowledge, which is, they've already seen 2 Spider-Man series, and more are apparently on the way. So yeah, the changes to this movie are actually very clever. I'll even go as far to say, needed to be done. I like that they focus a lot on the high schoolers and the New Yorkers and their overall goofy attitude. Keaton is hands down my favorite Spider-Man villain, both being kind of funny but legitimately creepy at the same time. And the action, while not as epic as the other films, is still a lot of fun and very smart. I just don't get why everyone says this is their big epic Spider-Man movie. Be really honest, if you knew nothing about Spider-Man and you just went into this film completely blind, would you say this is one of the great superhero movies? Would you say that was huge, epic, I can see this lasting for years and years? I honestly can, but at the same time, compared to the other Spider-Man movies, there's kind of fewer flaws. The Sam Raimi films, you can make fun of how goofy and over the top and awkward they are. The Webb films, you can argue how overly complicated they are. Comparatively, this has the least problems, and I think that's why so many people do see it as the best Spider-Man film. But because I do see Spider-Man as a very big and even very important character, I really feel that size and importance isn't represented here. My hope honestly is with future movies they kinda work backwards. Maybe they can show in flashbacks Uncle Ben and something that happened to him, or maybe go more into why Spider-Man does what he does and him growing up and becoming an actual man. Because here, even though I love seeing him interact with Tony Stark, that's not what should make him want to be Spider-Man. It's funny because there's a scene where Tony Stark comes in and takes the suit away and says you have to figure out why you're doing what you're doing. And yeah, I really agree with that. The movie should have thought about why Spider-Man is Spider-Man. The other two films did. This one, I guess, just wants to be a fanboy of Stark, and call me crazy, that's not what I think Spider-Man is about. I would like to see more depth. I would like to see it go darker. I much rather have a Spider-Man movie go all the way and take risks, because if you don't take risks, you're not gonna be big, you're not gonna be epic, you're not gonna be daring. Yeah, the other movies had problems, but took chances, and they seemed larger because of it. Even though it didn't always work out, they knew they had to try something big and daring with a character who's so big and daring. So overall, Spider-Man Homecoming is a lot of fun, and it is charming, and it is funny, and I enjoyed it a great deal. But there's no way I can say this is the definitive Spider-Man, this is the one that gets it right. It's got the lighthearted feel with a lot of charm, but not much more. And Spider-Man is much more. But, like I said, Spider-Man fans seem to love the hell out of it, regular moviegoers seem to love the hell out of it, so maybe I'm missing something. I still had a great time and really recommend it, but in terms of representing one of the greatest superheroes who's been around for years and years, I think we still got a long way to go before this Spider-Boy becomes a Spider-Man.